McKee, Rucker, Go Vols 24/7 here inside of Charles Schwab Field following Tennessee's 7-2 win over Florida State. Tennessee punches its ticket to the National Championship Series. Tennessee will play in the College World Series final this weekend because of yet another clean, dominant performance. We're in here because Florida and Texas A&M are playing out there. Texas A&M currently leading Florida 3-0, I believe, in the fifth inning.
Yes.
So looking like Tennessee will face the Aggies this weekend, but we'll see if they can hold on. Obviously, Tennessee is hoping that Florida can win tonight and force another game to be played on Thursday to determine who Tennessee plays. But in terms of Tennessee, 7-2 win over Florida State today. There were obviously a couple of big-time individual performances, but the thing that stuck out most in my mind throughout the game is for as dramatic and as jam-packed in terms of storylines as the first win over Florida State was, since then been very ho-hum. Just very clean baseball for the most part, just nice, crisp wins, handling business.
Yeah, I mean, when you make the plays you're supposed to make and you throw strikes and you have talent that they have, you're going to win most of the games that you play, right? I mean, that's just kind of how this thing goes. I do think it was a clean game, couple errors early on. And if we're being honest, I think we have to be honest about this. There have been so many games in the past in big games and big sports where Tennessee has just not gotten breaks. And in this game, when Tennessee needed some things to go right, they went right again, right? You play for the breaks, and when they come there, you make them. And I'm taking nothing away from Tennessee because they had to be positioned where they were. They had to make the plays that they made. But there were some barreled baseballs that FSU got nothing out of. That's how it goes, right? I think at the end, that probably only makes it closer, but Tennessee still wins the game. Tennessee this is a good team. It's playing well for the most part, pitching, hitting. It's playing enough defense. It's making a few spectacular plays on defense, and it's getting some bounces too, Ben. And when those things happen, you can win a title.
Yeah, I mean, Florida State did barrel up Xander Seacrest a couple of times, but Tennessee made significantly more plays than Florida State played, and it wasn't even close today. I mean, the effort from Xander Seacrest today, pitching to a big ballpark, pitching to the wind, using those things to his favor. Now, Florida State did take advantage of the wind itself. The final two batters that Xander faced got one up into the jet stream.
Yes.
Not just ordinary pop-ups, but the wind aided it. It was blown out to right, and they got into the Tennessee bullpen there. But aside from those two back-to-back solo home runs, Xander did a great job of using his defense, throwing strikes, pitching to how big the ballpark is. And the infield defense, a couple plays that you'd like to have back, but also made some really nice plays. And then the outfield defense just continues to be phenomenal this weekend. Hunter Ensley makes arguably the play of the season in college baseball as a whole. DH today because he's dealing with that sore hammy.
Yeah.
Kavares Tears goes out there and makes practically the same catch, just on the other side of center field against the wall. Just a great job. The defense helping out Xander at times, and then of course Xander just continuing to deliver when it matters most this postseason.
Yeah, I mean that catch from Tears. I mean it's like, I know what I'm about to say here, and it sounds crazy, but like it had shades of like that Ken Griffey Jr. Spider-Man catch, that everybody talked about. I mean, that was just an absolutely the video. Dylan Widger from USA Today got a great photo of it that shows just how high he got off the ground. If you couldn't see it on the video, you probably could. But just an unbelievable play. And then Dylan Dreiling runs into the wall too to make a nice play on a ball that was hit over his head. They've made the plays, and I'll tell you, they did have a couple of blips there on the infield defense, but the awareness of that infield defense also. Dean Curley taking advantage of that, the indecision from the Florida State runner before he goes home, bam, without hesitating, throws it to first, gets him out. Blake Burke goes in there as the cooler's popping up for us here. Blake Burke, a play that he's not made a couple times this year, right? That 3-6 double play where you got to clear the lane and get the ball over the head there and to the base. Remember, he's not done that a couple times. It's gone off the runner. It's gone, boom. It was perfect, right where it needed to be at that point. And I think Florida State just was not as aware of the situations and the magnitude as Tennessee was. And the outfield defense was just sensational, but the infield defense overcame some mistakes with, I thought, some really big plays.
Absolutely, and offensively, it was the Blake Burke and Christian Moore show. Again, I mean, everybody talks about Christian Moore hitting for the cycle in the opener against Florida State, but Blake Burke had 3-4 hits in that first game. and then they both come back. They combined 5 for 10, 3 RBIs scored, 3 runs scored. Simo had a triple. Blake Burke hit his 20th home run of the season. Oh, by the way, Tennessee, the first team ever in NCAA baseball history to have 5 guys on the same team hit 20 home runs in a season. Burke, Dreiling, Tiers, Billy, Moore are your 5 there. That's a pretty remarkable stat. But today, like Dylan Dreiling had the RBI single. There were some guys up and down the lineup that chipped in, obviously. But when you look at the box score, what Blake Burke did, what Christian Moore did, it stood out above the rest. And that 20th home run that Burke hit, I don't know if they've been able to go find the numbers, but at the time, TrackMan was not able to.
He broke it.
He broke it. But that ball was absolutely crushed. I mean, that was deep into the right center field bleachers.
Yeah, that might have been, I mean, there's been, I think, Moore hit the 440 earlier this week. That might have been more than 440. I mean, you just do not see a lot of balls get up to that high in this stadium, in that part of it. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, Moore hit the one that no one had really ever seen over the batter's eye at Hoover with a college player, and then Berg did what he did today. And it's weird because he was 5th on this team in home runs, and you just know, even though people are really careful to him, and you know what he can do, he might have a few more home runs if he wasn't trying to become a better all-around hitter, which he has done brilliantly
and that's a great thing, obviously,
this season. Yes, that's going to help him in the long run. But that driver's in the bag. And you know, it was, I thought one of the best quotes of the postgame was when he said that he got a really nasty back foot slider from Whitaker. And he sat there and he went, that was a really good pitch. And he said, I don't know if the cameras are going to catch it, but he says to Whitaker, that was a good pitch. And he just kind of gives him a look like he said he was trying to bait him into throwing another one at some point. He wanted to look uncomfortable. And then sure enough, he fouls off a heater and he knows he's going back to that slider. He's going back to it. He was ready for that one. And he absolutely obliterated it. I think Billy Amick had a couple of nice swings today too. He just kind of just does what he does.
He would have hit one out too if the wind wasn't blowing in from left.
Yes, he did send that to the track, and I think Burke also sent one to the track, you know, in left center.
Yeah, that one was more of a line drive. I don't know that it got up into the wind. It was more of a line drive, probably out at Lindsey Nelson Stadium into the first row of the porches,
yeah.
But very close. But I mean, Burke's been terrific the last couple of days, and he had a couple of frustrating defensive plays in that opener, but since then, the last 2 games, he's been terrific defensively as well.
Oh, he has been. I mean, he is. If you've kind of only watched, you know, Tennessee baseball the past couple of years, and you've kind of gone off to the surface of the sun or Mars or somewhere, or you know, you haven't seen anything this season, and you're like, oh well, he's still that guy. No, this guy has been an unbelievable defensive first baseman for a vast majority of the season. It is absolutely, he is a plus defender at first base, and I keep seeing these mock drafts, and I keep wondering, what am I missing? What am I missing? I still think there's a chance he goes higher than people think he does. There's just not a lot of dudes who have the ability, the power that he has. I mean, that thing will translate to wood. He could swing a stick, and it wouldn't matter. It's pop, and now he's doing other things too.
He absolutely is, and now Tennessee will play for its first national championship in program history since 1951. That 51 team lost a 1-game championship to Oklahoma 3-2. Almost pulled out a victory back in 1951. Wes was covering the team, so on our next podcast,
it was a good year for football, though. Baseball was close.
Next podcast, we'll get him to break down the 1951 Tennessee baseball team. That was, I think, his 2nd or 3rd year.
Here's Grace
on the beat there. But it'll be Texas A&M, Florida. I believe it's still 3-0. Trying to look on the TV, but it's not the scorebook's not up there. And we will certainly have plenty of coverage of it all at GoVols247.com as Tennessee plays for a national championship for the 2nd time in program history. I know a lot of Tennessee fans are out there kind of pinching themselves, kind of still in shock and just in disbelief. But you don't get here often. Tennessee needs to make sure they do a great job the next couple of days of not getting too comfortable about what they've accomplished to this point. I would be stunned if this team did do that.
Yeah, and I think they're going to have a tremendous amount of respect for their opponent, whoever it is, too. Better chance it's A&M than it's Florida, and that's probably the 2nd most talented team in the country. So, yeah, bring it on. What looks like maybe the 2 best teams. I think the Final Four was the 4 best teams in this tournament. And if it's A&M and Tennessee, I think it's the 2 best rosters and 2 best teams in this tournament too. So, I mean, lock it up. This is why you work all offseason, your whole life. These guys, these kind of moments.
Absolutely. Game 1 will be on Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Game 2 at 1 or 2 on Sunday.
Afternoon.
Early afternoon on ABC primetime. Tennessee could be clinching a national championship And if necessary, Game 3 will also be Monday night if possible. And Wes and I are going to stay in Omaha for a couple of days to
Do
play.
some laundry. But
We are going to do some laundry. I need to run my underwear through the washer at this point in the week. So
Yeah, that's where we are.
We're going to do that, and we'll still have plenty of coverage. Podcasts on your way, written content, and we'll have some more videos like this. Media Day on Friday before the series this weekend. So please stay locked into GoVols247.com, which, because Tennessee's going to the finals, we've got a great deal running at the site. So be sure to check that out as well. I believe 60% off an annual site, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 6-0.
mistaken.
Big one.
So
Big one.
check that out. We've got plenty of content. He's Wes Rucker. I'm Ben McKee.